they're back. Brooklyn and the Knicks, both of them in the playoff race. Nets are second. Knicks are fourth, tied for fourth in the East. What are y'all thoughts on that?
Uh,
Oh, go ahead, Ben.
I think ever since we heard about the blockbuster trade of and Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving coming over to the Eastern Conference, and playing together, necessarily, I don't think anyone thought they'd be too bad. The Knicks, they're bad. So seeing them now being able to sniff the playoff is actually, I think, a positive thing to kind of see. Now, of course, before you even add James Harden to the puzzle, everyone had the Nets as a favorite for, the championship. They've taken down the Lakers, if I'm not mistaken, the times they played this season. Handedly. Now, the Knicks, I got to salute them because there's a possibility they're starting to kind of play with a little bit of a groove. Because I feel like they've been a black hole in the last few years for a lot of players. They kind of, come down there, and it wasn't the sweet, sexy destination that it was at one point in time where everybody wanted to go play in New York and play in the Big Apple because it started to seem like it was a troubled franchise. They had a lot of front office stuff going on. A lot of guys wanted to win, and that fan base is they ruthless, man. When they're not winning, but they ruthless up there. So I got to salute both of those teams are actually playing pretty well, and I think this season they got a lot more younger players that want to be there, that are picking up and developing their game. And then of course you got Randall, who's just been balling, and so he's putting it together as well. So I got to salute both of those teams and their improvement.
Right, Ron, what do you think?
I agree mostly like the points that Ben was making. Honestly, yeah, once they got Kyrie and KD, like we could them being trash, let's be honest. Regardless of how it was gonna work, before they even touched the court, we were like, okay, they're gonna make the playoffs. With the addition of James Harden, it's like, okay, it's cemented it. Salute to Tom Thibodeau for hope changing that team around with the morale and playing tough because I mean, granted, they're not the most talented team, but they play so hard to where they grit and grind wins. Salute to Julius Randle for improving his game. He's I think this is his first year being an all-star.
Yeah.
So salute to him for that. Honestly, I'm kind of happy because like the Knicks and Lakers have this thing where when both their teams are good in the league, it just makes the NBA just seem better. Like New York's known for the Mecca of basketball. It's almost like thank God the Knicks aren't trash this year. We have an opportunity. Now the record's not the best.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of teams within the East play, especially like, the Celtics and the Raptors.
Mm-hmm.
They start losing some games. You're like, okay. So, I mean, the record wasn't going to be there. Granted, they have a way less of an offseason, so I wasn't really worried about that. Just looking at strictly basketball, watching him, I think it's amazing personally that, both New York teams, it just makes it pretty good for the league. And like you said, like even like the media, like and you hear this from various players that play for former players that played for the Knicks in the past and current players, like it's no tough joke. Like New York media is definitely tough. It's one of the hardest organizations to play for. Hard fans, just the whole coverage. Listen to Melo talk about it, or even J.R. Smith. So like you said, I salute them for doing what they do. They're a very young team. I want to say one of their like leading scorers or top three within that team is Emmanuel Quickley, like Quinterly. Excuse me if I'm butchering his name, but he's like a rookie though.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I mean, they're definitely growing, but I think Tom Thibodeau is doing a great job. Steve Nash, I mean, with a roster like that, I mean, you don't really need coaching, but you don't need necessarily a class A, grade A coach to coach Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wasn't surprised with the Nets, but I mean, the Knicks, salute to them, like you said. So,
yeah.
I'd say, the Nets, I definitely agree with. I'd say a talented team. Like you said, you already had to deal with Kyrie and KD. My only issue was just their health. Both players have dealt with injuries that have kept them out for significant amounts of time. So I wasn't expecting them to be like one of the best teams in the league right away. I thought it would be one of those things that it takes time to do that. But I got to reference that 8-game winning streak where they went through the whole Pacific Division with the Lakers, Clippers, Golden State, Kings, Suns, took all of those teams down. It's kind of a reliever for Nets fans that it's kind of like, okay, we already took down like two of the best teams in the Lakers and the Clippers. We took down Steph Curry. So the Nets are tough. The Knicks, like my dad's a big Knicks fan. I know a few people that are big Knicks fans. And to see them back in the playoff race, and the fact that there's not that they're just eighth in the East, they're not barely getting in, but the fact that you're tied for top 4 in the East, they've been grinding out wins. Julius Randle, I think, is like the most improved player candidate right now. Just the way he's elevated his game, he's dominating. The fact that he's hitting the outside jumper, grabbing boards, being aggressive. You could say RJ Barrett's doing his thing as well. This being year 2 for him. Like they've taken big strides. They got Derrick Rose back. There's like a new level of energy within the Knicks organization that if they get to the playoffs, I don't care if they're the 8th seed in the East come playoff time. I don't care. But the fact that we're like halfway through the season right now and they're tied for 4th is incredible. The way the team is playing right now, do I think they could get to the second round of the playoffs? Yes. I think they could. Because if the season ended today, they would be taking on Toronto. And that would be a great series. That would be great. I'm not saying that the Knicks would sweep them or whatever. It would be a battle. But I think the Knicks have enough heart in them to fight to get to the second round. And I just say for Knicks fans, you have a lot to be cheerful about. That's just my thought. Like the Florida teams, no. But the New York teams, yes. Yes.
Might I add this though?